Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live.
Good morning. Good health. Not good morning. Good health. Habits are hard to break even for myself, but the minute I say good morning, then I realize, nope, that is not what you are doing. You are not having a good morning. You are having good health. So, good health, everyone. And how are you today? And welcome to Sunday's book reading. And we are doing Company of Profit. Company of Profit. So, those of you that know. And for those of you that don't know, and this is your first time tuning into the book club, thank you. Thank you. So, I try to have I make, God gives me, I don't know. I try to have spiritual moments. I hope to have one spiritual moment a day. I kind of pray for it. And then I release the expectation of having it, and I release the expectation of looking for it. I just want a spiritual experience that could maybe change my day, change the rest of my life, change the way I treat people. I think I've been having a spiritual experience since coming here. I think, as a totality, I think. Um, but a lot of what I do here, I notice I don't share. Um, and I think I haven't been sharing out of fear. And I do know what the fear is. Um, and so I don't always share what the last 2 years have been like here. And I'm going to change that. And I'm going to figure out what that looks like when I change it. But I've already decided yesterday that I was going to change it. Because then I decided, in order to have a spiritual experience, I can't expect to sit back every day and have God just give it to me, right? I can't sit back and go, all right, God, I'm ready for my spiritual experience for the day. And may it change my day, my outlook, my view. May it change my life. But then I realized, man, God has so much to do. And for me to sit back and have this expectation is kind of weird. It's kind of selfish, kind of inconsiderate. And so yesterday, I was sitting outside, and the best way to have a spiritual experience, by the way, is to go into the woods, go hiking, sit outside and listen to the sounds of the animals. And yesterday, I got a cricket, which I audio taped the cricket. I got a cricket, and there was some rhythmic beat of the cricket. Started real slow, cricket, 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 cricket. And then it sped up, cricket, 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 cricket. And then it slowed down again, cricket, cricket. And I was like, cricket. First of all, I've never heard you this close. It was literally right at my door. And I was like, I never heard you this close. So I do realize you're trying to tell me something, and I'm of gratitude. Whether or not they figured it out is two different things, but the cricket was trying to tell me something. And I said, I'll look you up. And I know, like on Google, I'm going to get a superficial meaning, right? I'm going to have to figure out cricket language, right? But at the very least, I said to the cricket, I do hear you literally with my ears. I'm going to look up the meeting and then I'll figure out what my next steps are. And so I was sitting outside and I was scrolling through, which you think couldn't be a spiritual experience, but it can be. I was scrolling through Instagram and all their 1 minute videos. And boy, was I having a fun. So much fun on Instagram. And I kept posting it to my group. Nobody in my group ever reads anything that I post. Not never, but I post so much. It's like, girl, right? And they're fun stuff, they're goofy stuff, could be spiritual stuff. Like, I don't really know what I post. And then as I was sitting there, I was watching one person over and over and over and over. And I was like, wow, I like her content. Like, this is so much fun. It's so much engaging. And it's just her. And like it or not, like, she's just her. And I like that. And I feel like doing what I saw her doing in the Caribbean is what could make a bit of difference in everything that I do. If I just be me in all aspects, not just sitting at a table 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, that's who am I lying? 9:30 in the morning to do a morning show, or 8 p.m. at night to do an evening show. Like, that's fine and dandy, but does it showcase the inner core of me, the fun me, the goofy me? Um, and then I finally decided whatever fears I had, and they're justified fears. One day I will tell you what the fear is, but it's completely justified. It's not superficial. It's not like, oh, that's so silly, Tracy. No, this is a real fear. And then I thought, like, whatever that fear is that is actually holding me back, isn't that too the devil? Isn't that evil? That says, ha ha ha, you can't develop the way you want to develop because you have this. And I was looking at this other person's content and I thought, I'm going to knock that door of fear down. I'm going to knock it down. I'm not waiting anymore. I'm not letting someone justify how I show up in the world. And so I'm just going to start having fun, right? We got one life. And I don't know about you, but COVID took me out. Watching so many people like not be here anymore, grandparents, parents, overweight people, people that had cancer, and COVID was like, oh, let's just do this quicker. Like, people that had a survival rate with cancer no longer had a survival rate. Everybody's mourning, everybody's fearful. And in the midst of all that fear, I left. I left. I left. No one was going to strangle me. I left. And so this morning I wake up with the same expectation of God, show me something for my spirituality. Like, show me something. I don't say it to him because I'm not being rude by no means. I'm just recognizing that this is the position I've always had. So my expectation is, I woke up again, show me something. Help me to believe in you, God. Because sometimes I fail in believing in you. So I don't say that out loud. I just wake up but there's something else operating in the back of my head, like say something. I'm going to give up on you, God. Say something to me. Talk to me. And sure enough, true to form with how I communicate with God, he shows me something through YouTube, IG, not always Twitter. And one of our peeps, Bree, sent me something this morning that just made me so emotional. And it was exactly what I needed to hear. It was exactly what I needed to understand. That everything is bigger than me. That it's bigger than my expectations. And what's not getting provided will get provided, I guess. I don't know. But I'm going to share it with you because it helped me today. And it's a continuation of last night. And why wouldn't this message be for me? When God knows it's a message I would share with you. So here it is. It's a beautiful message. Turn it on. Oh, it's on. Okay. Wait. You turn it up. All right. Where am I? Oh.
Ready to play a rival, and I was in the training room and I was getting stretched by one of our trainers, and I looked over and I saw some of my teammates putting eye blacks under their eyes. And so I started to think, they're like putting their mom's name or their area code and different things like that. And so I started to think, I wonder if I could put an eye black and grab a silver Sharpie and put something on there that could be encouraging or inspiring, or I don't know, uplift somebody. I started to think, well, what should I put? And I started to think, well, God bless. And I was like, I don't know. And then I thought of Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I was like, that's an awesome verse for a football player. That's what I'm going to go with. So I put Philippians 4:13 under my eyes, and we went out there and played. And honestly, it really wasn't a big deal. A couple local newspapers wrote about it, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But I kept wearing it under my eyes the entire season, and we get to the SEC championship game against Alabama. We're getting ready to run out of the tunnel. And as a football player, so often it is really tunnel vision. It's the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. You can't afford to step back and look at the big picture because you can just lose focus. So many times it's just locked in to the next thing we have to do. Well, at this moment, I really felt like God was putting out of my heart to change the verse. I was like, really, right now? But I kind of stepped back for a second and realized that if we won, we'd be playing in the national championship. And that would be maybe the biggest stage that I would ever get to change the verse and put something meaningful on there. So we were blessed to win. And the next 6 weeks leading up to the national championship game, I was contemplating, really agonizing over what verse I was going to go with. But God kept bringing it to my heart and my head, John 3:16. Because as a Christian, that's the essence of our Christianity. It's the essence of our hope. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him will not perish, but have everlasting life. That's what we believe in as Christians. So I decided that's the verse I'm going to go with. So 2 nights before the game, I go into my parents' hotel room in Miami, Florida, and they open the door, and I was like, all right, Mom, Dad, I'm going to change the verse. And my mom's super supportive, and my dad's like, have you told Coach Meyer? Because Coach Meyer says he just likes his routines, but that dude is so superstitious, it's ridiculous. If we win with long socks, next week they're even longer. So it's just whatever is working, he's going to stick with it. So he was like, you really need to talk to him. So next day we have our walkthrough. After the walkthrough finishes, I was like, hey, Coach Meyer, can I talk to you? He's like, yeah. He's like, how's your arm, your leg? You feeling good? You got the game plan out? Yeah, I'm good. You know the verse I wear in my eyes? He's like, yeah, Philippians 4:13. I love it. I was like, well, I'm going to change it tomorrow night to John 3:16. What? What are you talking about? You can't change the verse. That verse got us here. It's like, no. So I explained to him why I wanted to go with John 3:16, and he understood, and he was supportive. And honestly, really after that moment, I didn't really think about it. Next night, I just went out there, and we were blessed to win the national championship. And 2 days after that game, I was sitting in Ballyhoo restaurant eating grouper with my mom, my dad, one of my aunts, and Coach Meyer. And Coach Meyer gets a call from our PR guy at Florida, and he's like, all right, bye. I looked at him, I was like, what's that all about? He told me who it was, our PR guy, and he said, he just told me that during that game, 94 million people Googled John 3:16. And honestly, my first thought was, how the heck do 94 million people not know John 3:16? But it was just so humbling for me sitting in that restaurant thinking about how big the God that we serve really is. Like, really, how big the God that we serve really is. So many times we put him in a box. But no, the God that loves us, the God that created us, the God that has a plan for us, the God that wrote a poem about your life, he is a big God that wants to do amazing things. And when we just turn around and say, hey, here, God, might not feel like a lot. Guess what? He can perform miracles. He can do amazing things. And I really believe the God that we serve wants to do amazing things in us and through us. What was really cool about that game is it was on January 8th of 2009. Well, exactly 3 years later, January 8th, 2012, exactly 3 years later to the day, we just happened to be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first round of the playoffs. I didn't think of John 3:16 one time, so I can't take credit for it. I had nothing to do with it. I just went out there and tried to do anything I could to try to win a playoff game, and we were blessed to win this crazy game in overtime. And after the game, when we were done celebrating, I changed really quick, and I was going down the hall to do my press conference, and I was really looking forward to it because I love talking to the media. And so I was getting ready to turn left and go into these curtains to talk to the media, and Patrick, our PR guy, steps in front of me and says, Timmy, did you realize what happened? And I was like, yeah, we just beat the Steelers. We're going to play the Patriots. Like, let me do this. He was like, Timmy, did you realize what happened? I could tell he was being serious. So I was like, Patrick, what's up, man? He looks at me and says, Timmy, this is exactly 3 years from the time you put John 3:16 into your eyes. I was like, oh, really? That's awesome. That's really cool. He says, no, you don't realize. During the game, you threw for 316 yards. Your yards per rush were 3.16. Your yards per completion were 31.6. The time of possession was 31.06. And the ratings for the night were 31.6. And during the game, 90 million people Googled John 3:16, and it's the number one thing on all social media right now. And I was just standing in that hallway thinking, God, I didn't know that you were doing anything. Like, I thought that was like 3 years ago. But it's amazing how big the God is that we serve. He took something that did 3.5 years ago to make a decision for Philippians 4:13 and then change it for one game. But I thought, hey, this is really cool. We impacted some people, but it's done. But no, God has an awesome plan. He has an awesome plan, and you might not even see what he's doing. You might not even know how he's working. But the amazing thing is when we step out and we show a little courage, we step out and we show a little boldness, what God can do with it in our lives, through our lives. But he's a big God. He's a big God, and he can perform miracles. He can perform miracles. I really believe that he wants to. You have to understand, the God of this universe loves you so much that he sent his son to die for you. If he loves you that much, is he not going to want to fight for you? Is he not going to want to fight with you? Is he not going to want to come through for you? Now, that doesn't mean that life is going to be easy. It's not. But it means that it's going to be worth it. It means that it's going to be worth it. When I was at the University of Florida.
All right, guys. Thank you for that. Thank you for letting that story be told. Thank you, Bree, for sending that to me this morning. When she sent it to me, I was like, man, I want to hear another white guy talk religion to me, especially after that last football player told, I guess he was talking to white women, because tell women that his wife loves her role as a mother, and although you spent all this money to get a degree, you know, your main objective in life is to be a housewife and a mother. And that sounds crazy to me. Crazy. I love being a mother, but that is my choice. But you can't convince all women that that's the only thing that's out there, is being a mother and staying home and not using your degree. No, you're a coward. You're a complete coward. Your wife is probably beautiful. And you know, if she steps out into the world, you can't keep her because you're a dummy. You're ignorant. God forbid that woman should have experiences with other people and discover a better man. And so when Bree sent me this morning, I was like, I cannot listen to another football player, especially if he's going to talk about religion. I can't do it. But as God would have it, and talking to me, God is like, sit there. Like, what do you have to lose? And I was like, I have 2 minutes to lose, God, if I have to listen to some football player say something stupid. And God was like, yeah, well, it's my 2 minutes, so give it a try. And so I did. I listened. As annoyed as I was in the beginning, this white boy gonna tell me something crazy. Fine, God, I'll listen. To softening my heart, softening my prejudices, and recognizing that it was just a message delivered by God through him. Now, I have no idea who he is, by the way. I don't know who this white guy is. He's some football player. But I am now in love with him. Oh, wait. Oh, damn. This came from Peter Thomas. Oh, my God. Peter, I hope you are changing your life, because this came from Peter Thomas. All right. Well, messages can come from anybody, and it was a message that was meant for me to hear. And Peter Thomas, his name says Peter Thomas, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Peter Thomas is one of those hidden down low men, and this message came from his channel, which is fine. You know, I don't believe in a Peter Thomas, but I believe that maybe he received something from God or from this message as well, and then shared it to the world. So it is what it is, Peter Thomas, but you are a weirdo. Okay. But I don't know who this white guy is. So if anybody knows who this white guy is, I would love to call out his name as well. I should ask Bree who she is. Maybe she knows sports better than me. I don't do sports, everyone. Let me see. Who is this guy? Okay. Let's turn this off. We don't need you anymore, sweetie. Let me turn this on, off, on, see if it works. No, it's definitely dead. It's all right. All right. So let's get started. Wait, let me say good morning to everyone. Hi, Angela. Peace and blessings, Sweet Carmel. Sweet Carmel says, that's where I am today. I am struggling with what is happening in my life. By the way, I want to talk to you, Sweet Carmel. I have uh, a concept that I want to run through you. I'll talk to you later. Incognito. Hi, sweetie. Good Sunday. And Creative Soul. Hi, with the waving hands. How's everyone doing? All right. I'm not sure really where I left off at. So I think I left off at page 99. We are in, I guess, the third chapter. Mhm. Oops, oops, don't go anywhere. Ugh. Hmm. Start at the bottom of the page. Richard Bath. Thank you. Thank you so much, Angela. All right, let's start at the bottom of the page, Richard Bath. Let's be. Oh, I don't have my bell. Nah. Where's my bell? I don't have it. All right. I'll just do ding, 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 ding. Where the fuck is my bell? All right. I am who I am. I was before I came to this body. Sculptor Richard Bart perceives amongst his former incarnations those lifetimes he spent as an artist. The first time I tried portrait sculpture instead of painting was classic. You don't start with classic, you have to work up to classic. I have never done anything that was amateurish or primitive. My work has always been classic. And that conceives me that what mediums have said to me is true. Three of them told me the same thing, that I was a very old soul. They told me different countries I have lived in. Bart's reputation as an artist was well established by the 1920s. Now a resident of Pasadena, California. Let me see. He was born in Bay Street, Lewis, Miami, Mississippi in 1901. My mother had 5 children, but I always felt the only person in the house that I was related to my mother. I wasn't related to anyone else. Huh. I feel we have known each other before. I have never said that. I didn't want my brothers and sisters to know it. She, a medium, told me that's the way I felt. In the 1930s, a writer asked Barth to make a Christmas gift for her husband. She wanted a portrait of his friend, entertainer Jimmy Daniels, sculpted in white marble. This was back during the Depression. Everybody was out of money in those days. I felt I had to take the job. I accepted the commission without telling her I didn't know how to carve. That's funny. I have never tried it. Now, don't tell me that's a first attempt. The artist points to a photograph of the bust of Jimmy Daniels. Where did I get that technique? I had to bring it here with me. This is my first and only portrait in marble. You have to have a hammer and a chisel chipping away. I was turning corners as if I really knew what I was doing. Bart's work is in art museums, galleries, public buildings, and private collections around the world. I was born at the right time, just at the time I did two heads. I had just finished them when something happened in Chicago that had never happened any place in the world up to that time. The white people on Michigan Boulevard were going to celebrate a Negro and Art Week. Who ever heard of such a thing? They went around Chicago picking up every sketch, every drawing, every line, every etching, every watercolor painting done by Negroes to exhibit. There was not one sculpture left. They heard about these two heads that I had done, and I said, I'm not a sculpture student. I'm a painting student. But the committee member told me, those are beautiful. And they were included in the collection. The Chicago Institute of Art had this big exhibition. They had the Jubilee singers, artists, poets, and everybody. There were speeches by Alan Locke, Langston Hughes, Countee Cullen, and James Weldon Johnson. What did I do in another lifetime to deserve this? I believe you have to reap what you sow, and if that's true, then I must have done some sowing the last time, because this time I started reaping as soon as I got here. As if everything had been planned. All right, that was short. I gotta look up this guy. What's his name? Barth. Let me see. Let me look at his artwork. Richmond Barth. Huh. He's good at what he does. Look at him. I just love me some black art, child. This is gorgeous. Richmond Barth. Look him up. Hmm. There's a centaur here too. That's a nice centaur. Hmm. Very nice. Captures the male form beautifully. Just amazing. Beautiful captures the male form. Every muscle is captured. Hmm. Well, thank you, Richmond Both. Thank you for showing up in this world. I'm of gratitude. All right. Oh, thank you. That's so pretty. All right. Thank you, Richmond Bot. It's absolutely beautiful. Hey, Bree. And Bree said it was Tim Tebow. I do know the name Tim Tebow. That much I can tell you. Maybe not his face, but I know his name. Great message to send over this morning, Bree. Thank you so much. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, let me see. See if I do something else. I'm just too lazy to get up right now. Okay. It felt as it was my duty to teach reincarnation, says London Wildwood. God told me to teach it. I have to force it on people sometimes. People tell me, I don't want to hear about the past. I say, how are you going to know about the present if you don't know a bit about your past? A new young parent, upset over her mother's dislike for her infant granddaughter, turned to London. And I channeled information. In channeling, I contacted her mother. And her mother said she didn't like the baby girl because the baby girl shocked her. I channeled in that the baby was her father who had reincarnated. She said she couldn't accept him in that form as a her. And that it was competing with her to have a new daughter in the family. And then I went into the future and I saw that in 3 to 5 years, the grandmother seemed to be accepting the baby more, but not now. The young parent, unfamiliar with past lives, needed help in understanding the concept. It really takes a long time to give people the whole picture of reincarnation. You literally have to take the time out and really teach it. A lot of the female black clients who came to me have been goddesses, discloses London. They had powers in their past lives in Egypt. Not all clients immediately open up to the idea of reincarnation. They will not accept it until a year or two, until I find the right book for them to read, like Edgar Casey. They come around eventually to the karmic. Concerning those, wait, I need to highlight Edgar Casey though. I was just thinking about Edgar Casey the other day, and there's something about Edgar Casey that you guys are going to be interested in knowing. And let me know if I'm wrong. You actually can't find his books. But let me know if I'm wrong. If you find an Edgar Casey book, what you're going to find are writings about Edgar Casey. And that tells me that if I can't find Edgar Casey's books, then the government took the books off the shelves. Because that means Edgar Casey was saying something that we all need to know. Mhm. They come around eventually to the karmic. Concerning those who are strongly opposed to working with past lives, London comments, When they come for a reading now, I cut out a lot that is spiritual and give them what they want, which is still spiritual, but it's more like what is happening now. It would be more spiritual if I could give them the karma with it. Mm. But they're not ready for it. I have to learn not to give people what they are not ready for. London was born in Stockton, California, but has spent much time in San Francisco Bay Area where he attended college. He writes poetry, composes music, and plans to make a film. His interest in metaphysics goes back to when he was 20 and decided to develop his intuitiveness by reading books in the field. Aura and chakra reading, spiritual healing meditations, tarot, numerology, and I Ching are methods he used in his present work with individuals and groups, assisting individuals in uncovering the skills they had in former lives. Is one of the objectives of London's counseling. These untapped resources which can give strength and direction to the past life he calls roots. I do want to point out, I'm just going to stop for a second, and I want to point out that studying spirituality in any form, on any degree, 1 to 1,000 beyond, helps to garner the strength that you need for this life. Not religion. Let's be really clear about that. But spirituality. Hold on a second. But spirituality helps to garner the strength that you need to make decisions when you have anxiety, when evil shows up, when bad friends turn on you, when relations turn on you. It's funny when you're stronger in your spirituality and you focus on your strength in spirituality, that when something comes to you that needs to be fixed, changed, altered, decided upon, it's so much easier when you've been working on your spirituality. It's almost like a light bulb moment when you need to change. You're just like, you don't say it to yourself, but you're just like, oh, I've been working on this right here for years. This is a decision I need to make. And boom, it's just me. And you're proud of yourself and you've moved beyond the fear. Most people are stuck emotionally. They aren't stuck truthfully. But most people have a belief system that they are struck, which is fine. I can't help that. What I do want to tell you is that the study of spirituality, it could be Reiki, it could be meditation, it could be past life experiences, on and on and on and on. You don't have to study everything. You just have to be part of a bigger picture other than religion. And when you take the time to study something other than, your whole world changes. And you are not going to be prepared for an amazing, decision focused person that is no longer stuck. It's a beautiful thing. All right, back to the book. Let me see what everybody's saying. Oh, Bree says, yes, ma'am, Miss Tracy. Listened to that this morning and it gave me life. Yes, profound. thank you, Tracy, for saying that, Miss Tracy, because the elders will have you thinking that you are totally and completely wrong for studying your spirituality. Yeah, that's true. I don't know if proclaiming it so loudly will work for anybody, especially, child, if you come from the South or if you come from a religious background family. I don't know if the challenge is to tell someone. The real challenge is to learn everything you can. Feel it, eat it up, absorb it, try different things in spirituality. I tried tarot, Tracy. Okay, so try Reiki. Like go beyond. Try chakras. Like just go somewhere else in metaphysical because it's so broad. Try astronomy, fused with astrology. Like do something and always do it until it's your soul, until it's you, until you no longer fear who you are. Before I left here, before I left, I was sitting at one of my favorite Mexican restaurants. These girls love me. And it was, I don't think it was my last meal, but it was close to my last meal there. I don't know what I was doing, but these two women picked on me. What was I doing? And somebody said something to me, one of the women, and I was facing them. We were both eating outside. It was definitely after COVID because this restaurant didn't have outside dining until COVID. We were sitting outside, and I don't know what I was doing. And she made a comment. And in an instant, I thought, oh, I'm going to have to tell these women, but I know they're not ready for it. So I just looked at both of them and I said, I'm a psychic. And the one woman immediately put her head down in her food and kept moving. She just put her head down. It's not that she wasn't having it. What I saw was, oh shit, I'm a psychic too, but I'm not about to announce it loudly. That's what I saw. And the other woman wanted to argue right while I'm eating. And if you guys know me, don't play with me when I'm eating. I'm happy. I like to do the happy hip dance when food comes. I'd be like, oh yes, Mr. Postman, wait, Mister. It's a bottom feeder happy dance when people come, when my food come, when the people come with my food. Oh, I get it on. So funny thing is, I was talking to my son about that the other day, and he goes, "Mom, I still dance." I was like, "Right, me too." And how we know that is when my son was in the movie Hardball. We were in Chicago, and the boys were sitting at a long table, and the women were sitting at a long table, and the boys were on one side, and the women were on the other side. And when the food came, Brian started dancing. When my food came, I started dancing, and somebody noticed. They were like, "You're both dancing," and I was like, "Huh?" And they were like, "You guys dance when the food comes?" And I thought, "Yeah, you don't?" Oh my God. All right, what was the purpose to all of that? Um, Stepping into your spirituality, because if you step into your spirituality, what people might do to make you feel bad or out of pocket or out of place, you recognize it for what it was. And this woman started to argue with me, and I didn't have to argue with her, but I just let her know. But who I am is a psychic. And she wanted to argue about the strength of Jesus and religion. And I really wanted to slap that bitch and tell her Jesus is a psychic, but then I thought, she's not ready for that. This might kill her. And then she's going to get up there and Jesus is going to be like, I am a psychic, bitch. So, yes, you're right. The elders got you thinking something different, but don't let them. Grow your spirituality. The elders, they're going to be who they are. I'm not trying to change an elder unless an elder lets me know what did I miss. And then, of course, I want to be there for that elder, particularly before they have to meet their maker. But if not, I don't care. I do not care. Life is too short. I'm going to get to the people that want to believe that there's something so much more than religion. All right, back to the book. Thank you, Bree. The untapped resources which can give strength and direction to the present life we call roots. One woman came to me and I gave her a life reading. As I looked into her past lives, I said over and over, you always work with fabric and you always die. You wove rugs and things like that. Do you think you might like to do that in this life? She said, I don't know. The woman called me a month later. She told me she got 2 books out of the library on batik. She started doing batik, and people started buying her work. She brought one over for me, which had a big piano note on it. She adapted that quickly from her roots. I found them, but I can't find them. Sometimes they don't really listen to the root thing. They have to do to get money. They keep trying other things, like trying to win money. I do think that people who do spiritual counseling can give people those roots they needed. What's batik? Learning a lot in this book. Let me see, batik. I have a little bit of a headache. Can anybody believe it's June 2nd already? Ciao. Hey, by the way, who won May for the Black Calendar? Who won May? Where's the Black Calendar? Because I haven't seen the update yet. Who did we put on as May? I want to know. I want to say Diddy got put on as May. Or Cassie for getting her ass beat over and over again. Maybe Cassie. Batik. I know, it's June 2nd already. If anybody finds that calendar, who Black Twitter X decided who, and oh, Batik. Oh, this what? What is this? This is gorgeous. Oh, interesting. It's a motif kind of. Oh, this is so nice. Huh, it's pretty. Batik is pretty. I guess it's fabric. Interesting. Hmm, beautiful fabric, though. I would love to have a batik hanging on my as a headboard. Huh. All right. Pretty. Very gorgeous. All right. Let me see this. I have to stop going into Twitter when I'm doing my work because IG really captures me. Okay, I'm over it. What page am I on? Oh, oh, we're almost done. We're almost into chapter 5. Look at here. Look at here. All right. What time do we have? Okay. All right. Well, Batik is beautiful, very beautiful pieces of work. And she found herself doing batik. That's nice. I love that, sweetie. I love that for you. Okay. Lady Sante Mirabai was a writer and a singer. Crops grew when she sang. Oh, that's nice. Ooh, be surprised. I love that. Crops grew when she sang. She had a deep love of God. She hated the caste system, says Julian Gatlin of a past incarnation of India revealed to her during the 1970s. In the 1980s, an Eastern Indian teacher acknowledged that life by calling June Mirabai, Mirabai, B-A-I, when he first met her. An ability of the Lady Sante Mirabai carried over into this lifetime. People have experienced healings through June's singing. She is a vocal entertainer who sings styles from gospel to jazz. She has performed on stages with the staple singers Otis Redding and Temptations. Her creative ability, including writing poetry and fiction. A spiritual advisor, June says she reads human energy as others read books. She has prophesied since childhood. She was still a child when she recognized that her past life was only one in a series of innumerable existence. She extracted skills from her collective memories, locations, circumstances. Many of her previous identities became evident early in her current life. Queen was the nickname given young June, the oldest of 9 children, because of her regal mien. She was aware that in a past existence, courtly attendants had waited on her. I have had picture flashes of many lifetimes in Africa, India, and Egypt. I have strong feelings toward the French. I was an illegitimate daughter of Louis XV and a black woman. I was hidden away in a convent. I have feelings of being a nun and knowledge of being in a convent. In the United States, an earlier lifetime was also uncovered. Born into slavery, she later escaped and helped others gain freedom. The name June was known by in that earlier life was Harriet Tubman. Interesting. I love that. So, side note, I too wanted to be a nun. And I was working on trying to get to the cloisters in New York City as a nun. So I paired up with a nun at my church who later got cancer and who later um, died, but wound up at the cloisters. And I thought, I'm going to go to the cloisters and I'm going to become a nun. Well, it never happened because God got jokes. And as I was making this decision to go be a nun, and I mean dead ass, he brought me a boyfriend. At 16 years old, he brought me who then became my husband. I never forgot that I wanted to be a nun, but I always understood I was not supposed to be a nun. I realized early on, I must have been in my 20s, that I had something to protrude out into the world, and being a nun would have been way too confining. And I wouldn't get to do what I wanted to do, which means I would have just had another lifetime here because I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. And one day I was at a super center that I used to work at, and I was telling everyone that I wanted to be a nun. And one guy, Matt, said, "You would have been Sister Act. You would have been Whoopi in Sister Act." And I thought, oh yeah, I would have turned the cloisters out. Yes, you're so right. And they could not afford to have me, so they probably would have killed me. All right. Okay. I saw this person's picture in a paper and I just knew that I knew him. Every time his picture was in the paper, I would turn to it and sit and look at it thinking, I know this person. One day he walked in my store, says Catherine Wilson. I don't know how to describe it, how it was when he walked in. We talked. He came back the next day. He asked me if I like fish. I said yes. We went out and brought a fish for me to fix. So I invited him to my house to have dinner. Catherine dreamed about him a couple of nights later, and he and I were together many, many years ago. It was in the very olden times, way back. It seems we were in a wagon train traveling together. There were old men with us playing the type of music he plays that most can't identify with. Black people, especially, can't identify with it. They were playing the music, and he was listening. I was there, and for some unknown reason, I just know I died of childbirth under that wagon. And here we meet again in another life. He had no awareness of that life seen by her in that dream state, but sensed he that they had been together before. We were very close. It is something high and spiritual, he told Catherine. It could be as far away as Canada. If she wanted to talk with him, he would call her. I would concentrate for maybe 15 minutes. All I had to do was just put it out there. In the next few seconds, the phone would ring. Hello, what do you want? Just like that. That happened to me with one person. Catherine, a widow and a mother of 5 children, put an end to their relationship. He moved to Canada, and she went on raising her children and expanding her import business in San Francisco Bay Area. He wanted us to marry, but I wouldn't marry him. He wanted children, but I was young enough. But I was young enough for children at that time. But he didn't want any more children. It was one of the hardest things in my life to do was to send him on his way. I felt it was something I had to do for him. Also, because he needed to grow. Huh. That's interesting. Using self hypnosis and the help of another past life counselor, Cora Keaton went back to a past life incarnation in prehistoric times. It was very cold, there was ice. I was always having to hunt, she says, about the last life spent in modern wild wilderness. I was a man. Cora traces her instincts, liking for mountains to that existence. The hunter had loved the terrain despite its harshness. I feel I have lived many lives. After coming out of each experience, I have felt it was part of my life. It was meaning and purpose. Cora co founded the Crenshaw Metaphysics Institute in Los Angeles, where she works with people in their spiritual development. Past life therapy is used by her to enable individuals to find direction in life. Her technique utilizes principles of meditation, visualization, and white light bathing. She soul travels with individuals to their former incarnation. I went out of the body. I saw myself in a group. I saw candles, Cora says of another experience. She had a different time and place. Clad in an orange robe, she was one amongst other priests chanting. She came back to the presence with a new awareness of an earlier life in Buddha's monastery. For a period, she remembered how to chant. This experience spontaneously began while she attended a Buddhist ceremony, a religion unfamiliar to her. A knowledgeable acquaintance corroborated the details of her experience and urged her to resume the advanced path she had been on in Buddhism. In a cycle of existence reached through past life regression therapy, Cora went back several hundred years, entering at the point of death. I was a blind apple peddler. I fell down a well and I broke my back. I remember coming up out of the well without my body, which means she must have died in the well. All right, what is this topic, this section? And some are old souls. So my friend Jason does these great past life meditations. Amazing, amazing past life meditations. And throughout the years, I've been to several of them. But the one that holds truest to me is I am Haitian by way of St. Thomas. Now, how the Haitians got to St. Thomas, I can't explain that. But we are originally from the land of Haiti over on this Caribbean side. And one day I had a past life experience. And I was a little girl, anywhere between 5 and 8. And a soldier would come, I'm assuming, to my grandmother's house, wounded. And grandma would say, go get the roots. And there were older girls sitting in front, what New Yorkers would call a stoop. I'm not sure if that's what you all would call it in the Caribbean. And we were surrounded around bush, as most Caribbean homes are. It's a lot of greenery for days and wild. It's not like aesthetically pleasing. It's just wild. And grandma said, go get go get the roots. And us girls would go running as she took in a wounded, I'm going to say soldier because that's presumably what they were without the uniform. And we would come back with the roots and give it to grandma. She would do whatever she has to do. We never saw that part in my past life regression. And at one point, I was 5, and one day I was 15, which means whatever this was, it had gone on for years. Years. And I do believe the French Revolution War did go on for years. And one day I was 15, and so now I was the older girl with the younger girls, the little 5-year-olds. And grandma said, go get them roots, because another soldier had been brought in. And the only thing I remember was, I'm tired of this shit. I remember saying, I am tired of this shit, because I had been getting the roots, the wounded soldiers, this war. I was tired of this shit. And then the Haitians were the first to fight back and win against their enslavers. So I feel like when I said I'm tired of this shit, I was tired of the war and the wounded. In any case, I thought I'd share that with you, with this woman talking about her past life experience as a blind apple peddler was one of them, or her experience in Buddhism. Interesting. Do you guys have any experiences like this? You can't be the only one. Are you guys doing your spiritual work? Figuring out who you were, what you are? Where's your spiritual alignment? Because if you're not, I need you to start figuring things out. I need you to get there. I need you to figure out that you're not stuck, you're not bored, you're just not taking on newness. And newness in spirituality. Like, find your way on that purple brick road. There's nothing more loving, nothing more fulfilling. Like, get there. You might have to get there alone to then find your tribe. But I don't want you to be fearful to get there. All right. I'm over this. I'm tired of this shit. Oh my God. By the way, I am open today. I do have a reading at 12 o'clock, but I am open today. I'm hoping to come on and do a video today too. I just don't know what the topic should be, unless you guys have a topic that's on your mind right now. Oh, you know what I was thinking about doing? Oh, I'll do that today. Will Kim's body be exhumed? How's that? Will Kim's Porter body be exhumed? But if you have other questions, please put it in the comments. I'd love to look at what you want me to read. But I'm open for readings today, 213-458-7408. Also, do you guys like the live readings? I did one on Friday. Look at that video. Do you guys looking at the live readings? And by the way, everyone was so supportive. I couldn't highlight all the kind words you all were offering to one another. But I think that's my favorite part, all the kind words. Yeah. All right. Let's get to the next one. All I know is that I did something. It's been recorded in history, and there is a statue or something responds to Rita Michael to a query about her former lives. But it doesn't matter because that was in the past, and I have to be concerned about my growth in the present. So it doesn't really matter what I did, it's just necessary that I learned. No matter how little or great or whatever. To Rita, poet, healer, psychic counselor of the San Francisco Bay Area, receives information about her own past existence intuitively. The information just comes. I can go back. I did one on Atlantis, and when I came back, my palms were sweating, my voice was shaking. I went way back. In tracing with others through their incarnations, she uses spiritual readings and light travel therapy. It depends on the person if they can look. When people come for a session, I have to go back to a past life, something that is very pertinent. It's not like someone calls to say, I would like a past life reading. If they want that, we can focus on that, but it is not separate from the reading. She began writing poetry in recent years, and much of her poetry comes from her inner voice. The theme in two of her poems, Dark Sun Child and Trees, is reincarnation. Have you heard of neurolinguistic programming? She asked. It's like neurolinguistics physics or reading the body, looking at the whole body as a geological light structure. It is like a certain energy light may be out and you reconnect with it. Sounds like chakras. It is dimensions of healing. There are people who tend to be living life, working out things that they took on another level or another structure that are somehow inflections or reflections of what they did before. Tuita's counseling activities began in 1978. On occasion, she speaks of metaphysical and cultural topics on the radio. She conducts class seminars and astrological readings. I met an astrologer who did my chart. He said our charts were very similar, and he tried to get me to deal with him. When I was with him, I felt like I was talking to myself. When I was around him, I felt like I had nothing to say to him. I began to lose a lot of weight. When we sat down to eat, I would sometimes get nauseated. Yet I felt like I was supposed to be with him. It ended when I had a reading done. It turned out he was a guru with me in a past life. I broke the contract. I had to realize that I had to move on. Oh, yeah, if you're getting feelings of nausea, I don't care who that person is, walk away. Um, you know what I didn't look up? Crenshaw Metaphysical. Where did that person work at? I didn't highlight it. All right. One of the people worked at Crenshaw. I just wanted to see if it was still there. Crenshaw Metaphysical something. Oh, Cora was a co-founder of Crenshaw Metaphysical Institute in Los Angeles. That's weird. Let me look that up, guys. Oh, let me get back to the comments. I was RA'd in 1991. I told I was RA in a past life to get me to remember who I am, a spiritual being having a human experience, and remember my power. And my sisters have herbalist ancient Egypt. That's nice. Sorry, sweetie, I didn't know that you were RA. Sorry. But I'm glad that the experience had something to do with getting your power back. There was another past life I believe I was an SPF woman. During the Dark Ages and was Art Aid again by a river. I think maybe I was in Salem during the witch trials too, but gotta revisit. But gotta revisit. It's on video. What's on video? Oh, well, the feeling of nausea is disdain. Remember, if your mind makes you believe you're supposed to be with someone, but your body is acting out of pocket, listen to your body. So the nauseation that she felt was letting her know she might have known this person in a past life. She cannot be with this person in this life. And too many people stay in relationships when the contract has ended. Half the times, your contract for some might be just to get a baby here. And everybody, well, I don't want to be one of those people that says they came from divorce. But your contract ended. So two people are forcing something when they should just be on a new direction, both of them. I had a woman the other day call me. She doesn't know that she called me before, by the way. I think she was late 60s, 69, 70, 71, 72. She doesn't know that she called me before, but I remembered her. Except this time, first time it's on the phone, this time it's on Zoom. She was in so much pain. So much goddamn pain over her man. And all she had to, like, of value was her home. And she wants to leave this man. She really wants to. But she only wants to leave him if I can tell her that he cheated. And Spirit would not let me tell her that. Because of course he's cheating. He's always been cheating. She gets signs. Women call her. She finds things in cars. Like, she's like, but she needed me to tell her that. I was like, that's not what Spirit does. And besides that, she had worked herself into such a frenzy with her disdain in this marriage that she became crippled, disabled, because she allowed herself to be so stuck in this belief system that she needs to chase around this man that cheated from jump. This is seriously a 50-year marriage. And from jump, this is what she's been dealing with. Never realizing that she could have just left. And now she's at the point where she can't leave. And so me confirming whether or not her husband was cheating right now today with his truck driving assistant, it had showed no value for me to do that to her. So Spirit wouldn't tell me. And I told her that. I said, no, I don't see it. And she's like, I'm sure he's cheating, Tracy. I'm sure. And I said, but I don't see it. The cards are not showing me what you want me to tell you. I can't give that to you. I can't authorize that. I can't make you happy. Because all she was going to do was live in the misery of knowing via a psychic, which sounds crazy to me. And you know, God wouldn't show me. And I was of gratitude. I was like, thank you, God. Thank you. Because if she got it from me, then that means she believes in me more than she believes in herself, more than she believes in God that kept giving her signs. Your man is cheating. She didn't need to hear it from me, and God didn't want that burden on me. Thank you, God. Thank you. So when you feel nauseous, sick all the time, depressed all the time, worry, or like you start acting not like yourself, get away. Stop trying to make something work. Your Kundalini is changing, and you're apt to die from cancer or heart disease or gain so much weight because you didn't listen to the early signs of nauseousness. Bree says, thank you. It took me many years and I am finally healed. Yes. I had a friend like that, had a man who was cheating on her, had a child with the woman outside their marriage. Friend ended up with a stress related heart condition. Please don't be like that. Please don't be, please. Life is amazing. Besides you wanting to chase around one pathetic man. So what? So what? You can have a beautiful house? Lonely? All right. All right. All I know is that I did something. It's been recorded in history. There is a statue or something. Oh, wait, this is Makita. I already read her. Okay. A stately woman in a chariot rode through Mother Estelle Ellaby's front room in New York City. The scene formed and animated every now and then, wake, waking old Egyptian memories in Mother Ellaby. She had been there one day in a time long gone when the procession actually passed, a spectator in the crowd, pushing forward for a glance at the regal woman, with her son, Clarence, then a schoolboy. In this life, Mother Ellaby searched through encyclopedias, knowing a modern depiction of the woman was somewhere. She continued on her course until she found Queen Nefertiti. That was the woman in the chariot. Years ago, through a vision, she was transported back to Salem, Massachusetts. She saw herself in a horse drawn cart, a prisoner accused of witchery, being led to trial in the year 1692. She emerged from the vision distressed about the false accusations which brought her death. Most witches were really spiritually gifted people. 14 times she died and came back. During one of her trances, sometimes when preaching or speaking, she would detail what she saw and heard in those 14 past lives. She lived in the early days of civilization. She remembers Israel, Pakistan, Muslim nations. While traveling, Mother Ellaby feels out things and places, realizing she once lived there, and she and Clarence went to Old Jerusalem in 1982. There, she pointed out spots familiar to her. Her burial site was found. A Jewish girl in that lifetime. She died young. She spontaneously speaks language unfamiliar to her in this lifetime, being understood by the indigenous people. The spiritually gifted on several occasions recognize her as one returning home to her people. I have been an executor, a prostitute, a love goddess, she reveals. This is just a body. I may come as an ape, a bird, or from another race. While holding her newborn granddaughter, Mother Ellaby received the message from the Lord. This is your baby from another time. Cold chills broke all over her. In a past life, she and Clarence were together. Even her adopted daughter has reunited with her from another time. I came from God. I had lived many lives. I'm part of everybody, every nation, and everything. An award winning entertainer, Haywood Coleman, returned to an old house on his first trip to Egypt. When I got to the pyramids, I began to realize I had been there before. There was no personality or name or anything about the life I led. It was more of an awareness of who I was, flashes that I had lived there. A few years later, in a psychic reading, it was told he had been a scribe during Pharaoh's reign. Before I went to Europe, I had flashes of streets and alleys there. He confirmed the existence of these spontaneously remembered past life errands during his stay in Europe. Basically, I went to France to study with Marcel Marceau. My girlfriend went to study with Jean Louis Barrault, who was the Olivier of France. It was a sudden death from asphyxiation from gas while taking a bath on a cold winter day that made me begin to wonder about the possibility of energy never being destroyed, even though it passes from a physical life. His awareness heightened through his reading of metaphysical books and clairaudient contacts with his deceased girlfriend, Layla. It was Layla who brought me in contact with what I called my spiritual teacher. This was not the first time that Layla had assumed a role in expediting his progress, spiritual progress. My most recent life in India, I felt strongly towards that life. I was in a monastery as a boy monk. One day I saw a guru. He would recognize the being as his spiritual teacher. At once he left the monastery to accelerate his progress on his spiritual path with that advanced teacher, who in this life was Layla. It's pretty. It's a nice day today, guys. I'll take it. Eleanor Walker's consciousness opened up while she listened to a metaphysical radio station in her Washington, D.C. home. Suddenly, she realized she had lived before. The day she conceived impressions of her own past life and some of her family's too. Sorry, guys. After After metaphysical counseling and training, more information about her past life became available to her. In 1970, I joined a metaphysical organization. That's where I started developing. I was in that organization for 7 years. A foundation was laid, and I began to realize the abilities I have. I was to know that I can go into past life and receive impressions for other people and myself. I am clairvoyant, able to see, clairaudient, able to hear, and a metaphysical teacher. I believe in reincarnation. One of the In one of my past lives, I was a Scandinavian male, a fighter, had been a fighter more than once. I never realized why I don't like to fight now. I don't like to see fights. I don't like boxing. I didn't realize until I started going to school that I've outgrown fighting. I didn't need it anymore. I have been here many times before. This is my final lifetime here. Ooh, I like knowing that. I worked on my development in other lifetimes. It's my destiny. Bernie Holloway picks up the thoughts, emotions, and intentions of others. Aware of her gifts since age 12, she began using them after her move to San Francisco Bay Area in 1962. She does personal counseling and has participated in programs of psychic awareness on radio, television, and at schools. I have given talks to classes telling them about past lives. I enjoy helping young folks to have better understanding. My son Marty is a master. My children are all very connected to me. My oldest son knows he's been here before. I didn't help him in that life, she says. Bernie perceives having lived in Atlantis. I know I was at the mystery school with Christ. I was at the round table with King Arthur. Born in a Presbyterian family, raised as a Baptist in an orphanage, she was perplexed for a long time by her strong affinity for the Catholic Church, which she had no experience. The confusion was cleared through past life revelations. She became aware of having lived in a monastery where her identity was that of a priest and a writer. Before she leaves her present life, Bernie hopes to have made the spiritual progress needed to free her of the cycle of birth and death. She would then only reincarnate for specific reason. Bernie notes it had become increasingly more difficult for her to stay within her body. She spends most of the time in the non physical world on the astral plane. I want to become a master before I leave the earth plane. I want to take on bodies only when I want to. Liszt told me I was one of the students in Weimar, Germany, in part concerts pianist Count Cornet, who we talked about Cornet, a self taught musician and channel for the spirits of famous deceased composers. The guides of writer Ruth Montgomery tell that Count has had many incarnations as a musician. During the reign of Louis XIV, he was a concert harpsionist and composer to the royal court. Does anybody love the harp? Anybody? I love the harp. And I've always said I love the harp. And one day for my birthday, one of my best friends, Winnie, invited me to the Queen Mary for lunch. And part of the musical composure was a harpist. And let me tell you something. It was absolutely the best birthday ever. Let me see. This is a harp doing Beauty and the Beast. So listen to this. On IG. We have a famous black person that does the harp too. Let me see. She's on IG. Famous black harpist. She's amazing. Let me see. Is it Ann Hobson? Images. Here she is. She is amazing. I love her. Does anybody else like the harp? It is. I think I'm gonna start listening to harp music again. I think I forgot. 4 black female harpists making history. Let's see. I love the harp. I would make love to harp music. I really would. Let me see. And they're just gorgeous too. Angelica, I think, Angelica Hairston, Madison Cowley, Nyla Hunter, and Brandy Younger. Let me see if I can get one of these girls on IG. I mean, amazing. Stop it. Here goes Madison Cowley. Let's see what she has to play. Mesmerized. I'm done. Let me see if I can find another one. This looks like it's still Madison. Let me try this one. Eli B. Events. Let me try one more person.
judge my concentrated face.
That's Alex Carey. Let me try one more person. I can listen to harp all day. Let me try this person. She seems to be singing and doing the harp.
You are my heaven on earth. You are my last, my first. And then I hear this voice inside.
Damn, that brought me to tears. That was so beautiful. That was gorgeous. Okay. Ooh. All right. Liz told, oh boy, that was gorgeous. I don't even know where I am. Liz told me as one of the students in Germany and parts concert pianist Count. Okay. The guides of writer Ruth Montgomery tell that Count had been many incarnations as a musician. This lifetime he suffered as a battered child. I knew I was being tortured. I actually thought of a torture chamber. What did I know of torture chambers at that young age? A collection of past life. In the last life of 5 past lives, Guide revealed Count was a white man. When I sing Negro spirituals, I am totally black, but otherwise I never think of race. You should always think of race. Period. Um, I'm always momentarily startled when someone remarks on my Negro heritage. I know without a doubt that I agreed to don this physical body as a symbol of the white and black, the yin and yang. Just as my work is concerned with universal love, so I needed a body that would serve as a subtle reminder. That sounds a little racist, but okay. The so called talents I have, I think everybody has. It's called intuition and renamed psychic ability. We are born with it. While growing up, Patty Ballard often perceived what people were thinking, good or bad, through the vibrations around them. I've always been interested in metaphysics. I took psychic development classes and realized that all my life I have been seeing in my mind's eye clairvoyantly. I found I was good, and it surprised me. But being a practitioner of science of the mind, now I can look back and see what is happening. When you are developing psychically, you're getting closer to Source, which is God. I found the closer I got to Source, the more I became attuned with the universe, and the more I was able to see these intuitive or psychic abilities. She was born in Fort Worth, Texas, to a military family through a psychism of mystery and dismissed it. Her family moved frequently. She spent a lot of time alone reading. I started out using psychometry, which would be a piece of jewelry on somebody. I would hold it in my hands. What would happen is that pictures would come to me, and then I would ask questions to make sure those pictures were interpreted right. Patty's direction is in teaching and lecturing. She co hosts a cable television program in Los Angeles. I started my reading at psychic fairs. And some of my first ones were past life experiences. It was really interesting to find that whenever I was reading these people, the various things that happened in past life experiences they were going through in this life, it was like a lesson learned for them in this life. I'm always surprised about the things that come out. The energy within each of us is so untapped. We don't know the amount of power that each of us has. Imagine if the whole world got together and used that power for good. I do believe that there are people who are lucky enough to continue a previous incarnation. Stevie Wonder, to be so gifted, to play so many instruments at an early age, had to learn it somewhere. The pattern in his subconscious, it didn't develop. I think the mind is a collection of pictures of things we have experienced, and nothing is ever forgotten. Chuck Wagner, New York tarot master and astrologer, at 5 years old began reading playing cards spontaneously. I do believe I had to be familiar with them in some previous life to even manage them. As soon as I got them, I started reading them. All right, everyone. The next chapter will be gifted in physical healing. I think I'm going to like that part because I love physical healing. All right. Oh, it's almost 11. When's your next reading? Oh, thank you, sweetie. I give myself a little bit of grace just in case I go over on Sunday. String instruments must be the distance from the mic. Volume gradually. Oh, okay. So I'm going to give you guys some homework. I want you to find on IG a beautiful heart piece that resonates with your soul. And I want you to listen to either the person or the piece over and over and over this week and tell me what feelings you're getting from it. What changes, what feelings. Like, I want you to tap into your deeper selves now. And I want you to tap in by using someone's instrumental piece using the harp. And then come back next Sunday and tell me, oh, thank you, Seashells. Seashell says, Tracy, you're doing a good job. Come back next Sunday. And, or you don't have to wait till next Sunday, right? You could email me at where? TracyBrownLive@gmail, right? You can always email me. Those of you that have my text message, you can text me. All right. Let me get up TracyBrownLive@gmail. You can notify me at TracyBrownLive@gmail.com. You can text me for those of you that have my 818 text number, but if you text it 213, it'll get through regardless. And tell me what you're getting by listening to a harp piece this week. Time to grow our spirituality, time to take a moment and see if this tool, the harp, does anything for you. If it does nothing, let me know that too, because music just may not be your jam, but I want you to try it for you to say, did nothing for me. Love you, Tracy. I didn't feel anything. I want to hear it regardless. All right, guys. So enjoy finding that heart piece and letting me know the artist and the material and all that good stuff, and have fun this week. I love you guys. Take it easy. Bye. This is my gratitude journal. Thank you, Angela. please purchase my gratitude journal because we're going to be doing a 369 event real soon. And what else did Angela post? Oh, and join my Type P channel. Type P. All right, guys. I love you guys. Take it easy. Bye.
Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown.